comes from the sales and property tax. The vast majority of funds are intergovernmental funds, and most of that has some sort of string attached to it, which it makes lots of the spending, and particularly on social programs, fairly difficult, because if you cut $1 of spending in the county, you end up really cutting two in a lot of instances. How should the new government approach these types of problems, particularly when it comes to the social safety net?
Yeah, those are very difficult problems generally, and there are two parts of it. One is the budgetary, and the other is the bureaucratic. And if somebody gives you $1 but insists that you do certain things with it that end up costing you $2, you didn't come out ahead, you lost. And a lot of the matching grants have that character. You may not lose the whole thing, but the dollar you get from somebody else isn't worth the whole dollar. It might be only 10 cents. So, but there is the bureaucratic side, and that is that typically when you have these sorts of grants from one level of government to another, it becomes quite unclear who is controlling the use of the funds, and it becomes a wonderful bureaucratic retreat, so that at the local level, if the voters and the politicians come in and say to the agency, you should be doing things a different way, they say, oh, we can't, because these are the rules that we get from the state or the federal government. And if you go to the state bureaucrats, they will say, oh, well, we can't influence that, that's a local decision. And so you end up with total bureaucratic control of a whole range of governmental decisions, including most of education, as well as the programs you're talking about at the county level.
Now, a lot of money is being used right now, really at all levels of government, for foreclosure mitigation. We're obviously in a foreclosure crisis, a housing crisis. Is that a good use of funds? I've heard the argument that it's more of a backdoor bank bailout than necessarily money going to help the homeowner who's in need. Do you have any opinion on that?
Well, somewhere, nobody knows where, across the country, around the world. So I think that it doesn't pay the county to put much money into that sort of thing.
If it doesn't make sense for the county to be directing money to programs to do foreclosure mitigation, what is the proper role of government to help alleviate this crisis?
Well, there are two things. The first one, I hope the county continues to track down the outright fraud, which has been a problem here, and there's been some effort there. But when you get beyond that to just the mortgages that people couldn't pay, you know, what the county can do, perhaps with state help, is to make sure that this process goes smoothly, so that the housing stock doesn't deteriorate. Well, you're trying to figure out who owns it. There are foreclosure problems, there are abandonment problems. A lot of work has been done on that already, but I'm not sure that we've solved all the problems.
So really, what you want to do is have these houses move as quickly as possible from the owner that it was foreclosed upon through the foreclosure process, and get to a new owner, to minimize the amount of time it sits out there and is subject to the elements and being broken into and the like.
Yeah, houses that are vacant destroy the neighborhood, and so anything we can do to ease that problem is useful.
So if we're actually trying to help people stay in their homes, keep housing prices up, in many ways, based on your reason, it sounds like that might actually worsen the crisis, because prices aren't falling to that equilibrium level, and so these houses that may have been sold if prices came down now instead stay vacant and are subject to the waste that you're talking about.
Right. I think it's a mistake to work to keep housing prices up, because the markets won't clear until prices go down. Once neighborhoods are stabilized, then housing prices may very well go up in Cuyahoga